Right, good morning, welcome back. Okay, now I've heard it said that the best amateurs out there are still only half as good as the average professional. And there is merit in that. But then again, professionals have professional equipment and professional materials and practice because they do it every day for a living. So there is that too. However, my neighbours down the road who have a professional spray shop have reached out and said, would you like to bring your bike bodywork down and use our equipment? Well, that would be rude not to, because I am a keen amateur. I don't consider myself very good, just an average person who gets average results that I'm happy with. I don't paint paintwork for anyone else, only for myself, so it's only my own standards I have to please. Now, this bodywork, I was happy with it when it was done. I fancy a change. And having this offer coming up from my neighbours to use their professional spray shop and all their professional equipment to make a better and more professional job, well, I couldn't turn it up, could I? So that's where we are today. I'm going to prep this today to the highest standard I possibly can, show it to them and say, is that acceptable? If they're happy with it and I don't need to tweak it anywhere and get it even better, then it's going to go in the paint shop in the next video and be painted. And that will be the weekend from where I am now, about 4 days away at time of recording. So here we are today to prepare this. Now, I'm not going to make it a tutorial because I've got a lot to do today. I've got to prep all 3 pieces of bodywork to the highest standard I can. But where I can, I'll share a few tips and tricks with you if it will help you do the same thing. So eyes down for a full house. Let's see if I can take my skill set to the professionals and at least impress them a little bit. You never know. Now, this particular little nugget is extremely important before you even start. When you're going to start scuffing up your bodywork, whatever it might be, sanding it down, wet and drying it, whatever, before you even go near it, remember it's probably got wax, polish, ACF 50, whatever it might have that's possibly on that bodywork is utterly resistant to water. That's its job, isn't it? You wax your paintwork to protect it from the weather. Well, it's not going to wash off with water because you want it to. It needs chemical intervention. So degrease your bodywork thoroughly before you start scuffing it up. If you start scuffing that with paper or scuff pads, whatever it might be, the minute you do that, you're taking that greasy, whatever it is, wax, silicone, anything, and you're grinding it into the scratches and inserting it into the bodywork. You won't get it out and it's trashed your paint job even before you've begun. So don't trash it on the first level. Degrease, degrease. That's the first job every time. Every time. Okay, at this point, I've done the lion's share of the work. I've filled all of the little chips and scratches and imperfections that have developed over 18 months. Bit of dolphin glaze in there, just a tiny bit. Scuff it up first, in with the filler, wet sand it out, flawless. It really is quick and easy to do. You take the scratch out, you can't even feel where it is. The other thing was to take out all of the ridge between the black and the silver. So I've blocked all that out completely. You can't feel anything on this other than smooth, clean bodywork. Now the next thing is to finally key it up ready for paint. It needs a keyed up surface, so I'm going to use one of these sanding pads that they use in the body shop. It's kind of like a wet and dry sanding pad. It's a 2000 grit, would you believe? That's quite unusual. I would have thought that was a little fine, but they said that's exactly what they use and it works. So I'm going to go with their advice. They're the professionals. And that 2000 grit will not only get the shiny areas keyed up ready for paint, but also the currently scuffed areas have got an 800 grit scuff in them, and that's too coarse on what they're saying, so that needs to be flattened out. So really I've got to go over the whole lot, all over it completely, smoothing out the area that I've so far sanded and scuffing up the area that I so far haven't. So loads more to do. Let's get on with it. Okay, prepared to the standard requested. Now I'm getting a lot of guidance on this from the professional guy that's reached out to help me here, and he's told me what he needs so far, and this is it. All the little chips and scratches, filled in, wet sanded and gone. All the ridges between the colour and the black and the clear coat gone, so nothing is to the touch whatsoever. It's completely smooth all over, and then the whole lot scotched up with the 2000 grit pad, so it's lovely and shiny and smooth, but with no gloss left. So I'm really happy with what I've achieved so far. I'm going to get him to come and inspect it, make sure he's happy, and if not, any little bits I need to do, I'll do off camera. Taking up enough of your time, it's already 2 o'clock. 5 hours at this so far. I thought it might take longer, but I don't think there was as much damage to it as I thought there was. It looked worse than it was. Now, in the next video, it goes to the paint shop. It's going to get primed. That primer will get baked off in the oven, then it will come out, get wet sanded, and then go back into the paint shop again or into the booth where it will be top coated and lacquered. Now it will be a matte or satin lacquer that we're going to use for this, so there's no opportunity at the end to flat and polish it, so it has to be perfect straight out of the gun, and that's the challenge I'm giving myself, and that perfection is achieved through a perfect substrate underneath. So the primer that I'm going to put on it and then flat down, that's when the real meticulous work has to take place, and that will be in the next video. Now hopefully in the end of the next video I'll get this into paint, at least hanging in the oven ready to bake off, and then we'll finally have it back probably a day later when it's completely solid and we'll be able to rebuild it onto the bike. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I've enjoyed this so far. This has been the hard, miserable and boring part, but I am enjoying my mini adventure. I hope you are too. Thank you for watching. Take it easy. Ride safe. I'll see you next time.